What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action extended edition action spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Fuji. His name is Bon Kiki. Spawning at the top of the map in the red color, playing as Poseidon. His name is the Rapple. The map is Oasis. And we've got, yet again, another China game coming through for Bon Kiki. He's got himself a very, very nice map here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zebra. You couldn't ask for a better start on Oasis for Fuji. Now, Fuji is arguably the strongest god in the current meta on Extended Edition for several reasons. And we could go through them if you like. But first, let's talk about Odin. Or Poseidon here for Rapple. So he's not Odin. He's gone with Poseidon. He cannot pick Odin again. He took the first game in commanding fashion. In fact, took 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and his opponent resigned. That is how strong Rapple's Odin is. And Skadi was right all along. 4 food, 2 gold, 6-minute heroic age, but in this case, just 4-minute 30 victory. Sometimes you can't get it all right, but you know, it is what it is. Anyways, Rapple here is doing his thing, and he's on the map Oasis. Now, what Poseidon would normally want to do against a Greek player is try and get a fast second town center and play very hyper defensive and try and just sit on that town center advantage. And it can be incredibly strong. And it's got to be the way you kind of want to play this matchup here with Poseidon. Now, that's against Greek, but he's against China. So things get just a tiny bit different because, like I said last game, the Chinese become they feel very similar to the Greeks in terms of what strategies you really want to be using against them. So, I mean, there's that. So we'll see how it's going to go. So let's talk a little bit about what makes Fuji incredibly strong and what doesn't make Fuji incredibly strong. So Fuji has got 2 or 3 incredibly strong strategies. So strategy number 1 is called the Immortal Rush. Now, the Immortal Rush comes and hits your opponent incredibly early with 8 Immortals and Halberdiers to boot. Very difficult to defend against if executed well. That's strat number 1. Strat number 2 with Fuji that is incredibly strong because you have cheaper wood on your town center. Fast second town centers with Fuji are incredibly good. You can get yourself a fast second town center, possibly the fastest in the game, even faster than the Egyptians, because you start with 4 villages, you get the cheaper town center, and you advance fast. Even faster than the empowerment. I think it goes up pretty quickly. So there's that strategy. And strategy number 3 is more of an anti-Egyptian strategy revolving around a fast heroic age, as we see the villager attempting to make his way past the chaos that is here. And we'll see what he's going to do there, as he does end up managing to keep all his villagers alive. And he should throw a granary down here. That's 300 food, my dude. Anyways, so strategy number 3 is a fast heroic into utilizing call to arms to get yourself a whole bunch of those shooty dudes, fire lancers. So all that being said, you can do a whole bunch of stuff and it's very exciting. So we'll see exactly what Bon Kiki's going to be going for here. He's got himself a lot of wood in the bank, not a lot of gold. We do see the Theseus is out for Rapple, going to be causing a little bit of problems here. He does spot the low HP peasant here, going to be retreating away. Obviously, the Theseus, well, not obviously, on Extended Edition, the Theseus, if you're not in the Classical Age, only gets 4.5 damage per second, which feels like it just basically scratches the villager. Bon Kiki not really reacting to this very well at all, as he is indeed going to be losing his villager to this Theseus as the Immortal is coming over for Bon Kiki. There is a world where he could have kind of sped walk that villager out of there, but he didn't do that, and now the Immortal is here. The difference between an Immortal and a Theseus is roughly, I would say, 100 HP. The rest of the stats are very, very similar. A little bit more hack armor and whatever. So Theseus going to be getting out of there. We do see an attempt at a raid there onto that home gold mine, as we see a very, very early call to arms. This is something that I thought on release would be incredibly strong, and he does actually manage to take one of those units down. He does lose his first initial terracotta soldier, losing his second terracotta soldier. That does net Bonkiki a little bit of wood and a little bit of gold back. I believe it's 1 favor, 20 wood-ish. As we also see the Year of the Goats coming down for Bonkiki, giving himself a whole bunch of goats. And he does not have his garden down just yet, which is going to be a little bit of a problem. He's starting to make himself a whole bunch of Choco Nu. So an interesting decision there. We'll see how that's going to go for him. I'm of the opinion that Fuji having possibly the strongest food gather rate in the game because of domestication should be relying mostly on food-based... is he going to get the villager kill? He does. Should be relying mostly on a food-based army, going with Immortals, Halberdiers, because the Immortals can actually counter enemy archers because they have perfect track rating and they do a ton of damage with their arrow fire. So you can shoot your Immortals and kill off all your opponent's Toxotes, while the Halberdiers can tank and do everything else until they're all dead, or whatever other unit you want to talk about. So both players actually staying one town center in this game is very, very interesting. We'll see how it's all going to go. We do have the army going to be making its way over onto this position. It looks like Rappel's got enough units here to defend. There really isn't that many units here for Bonkiki. A couple of Toxotes here with the Theseus, and the Hippolyta is going to be a very big help, but looking like the Toxotes actually targeting down the Scout Cavalry there, definitely missing a whole bunch of DPS as the Choco Nu going to be retreating away. Let's take a couple of hits here, losing a whole bunch of units as they're trying to retreat back to their home base. And the Scout Cavalry coming in to help them run away, as Rappel does manage to hold on here. Now, the thing is, you can't really freestyle with Fuji. Fuji is in this awkward place where if you don't play the meta, Fuji can feel really, really weak. So whenever you hear anybody saying that they think that Fuji is not very good, chances are they're not playing Fuji in at max abuse potential. And that's however I read whenever someone says that they're not very good. And so we'll see exactly what's going to happen. So Bonkiki is actually going for Scout Cavalry Choco Nu, and arguably utilizing the worst units of China that he can use. So we'll see if it's going to work. They are cheap in that the Scout Cavalry cost very little, and you can get a whole bunch of them. They can get like a ton of units and have a very, very scary army to look at. The Choco Nu are also not quite as strong as the Toxotes for several reasons. Mostly the fire rate is a lot longer, so they miss a lot more arrows and they do a lot less initial DPS before it starts ramping up. So we'll see if it's going to work out for him. Chances are it might. Now, all that being said, there's also the thing of Poseidon being potentially one of the best gods against Fuji, because Poseidon's innate unique ability of making militia when dead buildings happen count as one of the god powers. And in Uproot, as we do see the army going to be nice around here from Bonkiki, forcing a ceasefire here. There's really nothing you need a ceasefire for Poseidon in this matchup, so this is fine to be using. There's no big god powers apart from Great Flood, so he's going to be fine here to cast that ceasefire, and we'll see how it's all going to end up. Now, the question here is, do we have domestication? And the answer is no domestication. Domestication is the god power, the technology that doesn't break Fuji, but pushes Fuji into the broken territory. Domestication increases your herdable gather rate by a lot. Is it 10%? It feels like a lot. By 15%, and it increases your berry bush gather rate by 30%, which effectively makes them faster than gathering herdables. So you should always be getting domestication. You should always be getting your berry bushes and then eating your goats afterwards. because berry bushes don't get fatter or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? So very important to be doing that. But right now, Bonkiki is 2 town centers. He's going to be jumping onto his monkeys, doing all that he can. We do see these walls getting thrown up for the Rapple here. I see, as he loses his villager to the trio of hyenas. The same hyenas that were a problem before. We do see Rapple hitting the heroic age there through Aphrodite and be sniping that final hyena. And we'll see exactly what Rapple's plan is here. He could be going for a gold starve. The gold situation is not necessarily good for Bonkiki, and we'll see how it's going to go. Because he's about to run out of this. He's going to have to run into the curse. There is a world where going for Nemean Lions here isn't a bad idea, but it's looking like Rapple is actually just going for the kind of anti-Norse strategy of a semi-fast mythic into an earthquake here as a bit of a counter to the late second talent center grab. Really, really smart play from Rapple, to be honest, because normally this is how you play 1 talent center strategy against a 2 talent center player, and a late second talent center player would be kind of exactly the same thing. So we do see the Scout Cavalry trying to get in here and get some damage done. They have very low line of sight, so they can't see a whole bunch. We do see the Hippocon going to be moving through here, just checking out what's going on. The Hippocon do take a little bit of damage there from those Choco Nu, as Rapple just wants to see what's on the gold mine. Noticing that nothing's there, he will simply leave. And the advance time to the Mythic Age will be coming very shortly, as there he goes. Artemis is the god of choice. No surprises there. Now, Artemis does bring options of going Chimera here. China might have a little bit of an issue against Chimera because their immortals, while they are very strong, if he's still in the second age, they're very weak in the second age. So he needs to get that third age up buff, the fourth age buff, the same thing that comes with Hersa, comes with Greek heroes, comes with every single hero as you advance through the ages. You get 15%, I believe, on your damage and HP. We can see a couple of units getting sniped here as the Hippocon coming around the back. Going to attempt to target down these Choco Nu, but honestly, the Choco Nu can probably fight this at this point. There's just so many of them, as Bonkiki does have a ton of population right now. 130 population here. We do still have that curse that can be dropped down, but those Scout Cavalry might actually tank a lot of that, and you really don't want to be hitting any of those if you can. And I like this kind of army positioning from Bonkiki, who manages to block a whole lot. We see the curse getting thrown down. The Toxoid is getting some damage done. The archery range sitting here potentially might accidentally be getting some damage done to it here, because it does take about 70 DPS there. As the fight is continuing, this Nemean Lion has been targeted down by 1 immortal. If Rapple can target that down, and he can, he's easily going to be pushing Bonkiki back as the army of the Greek absolutely annihilates that Scout Cavalry medium Choco Nu army. And these units are toast here. So we also see the Scout Cavalry, or the Katoskopods coming in. Earthquake getting thrown down as the screen camera shake is absolutely real. The Town Center does not fall, but Bonkiki goes from 130 total population down to 60 total population there, or available population, I should say. And that's going to be absolutely huge for Rapple to make a big push. But Bonkiki has got himself 1,600 wood in the bank. So he'll be able to get these. I can't breathe. I'm dying. So he'll be able to get his population back very fast. But his building facilities, he's only got 2. So he's not going to be able to train them very fast. And we will be having Chimera coming through. We've got the army split here from Rapple checking both the gold mines. He will be seeing the villagers all over here, I am sure. As we see the Immortals coming through, as Bonkiki is attempting valiantly to defend this push, as Rapple is simply 111 of 115 population, sitting very comfortably up there. 75 population for Bonkiki as his army is slowly but surely falling. Chimera coming in onto this location, going to be looking for some villager kills. The big fire breath does start hitting, and those units are going to start falling very quickly over there as well, as more units are coming through. For Rapple, he's got an absolutely overwhelming advantage at this point in the game, and Bonkiki still going to be attempting to defend himself against Rapple's onslaught, but Rapple is simply just going to wait for his Toxotes here. And do we have ourselves any upgrades coming through? What would be under production? No real upgrades coming through for Rappel just yet. He's just full army here. These Immortals are going to be a big help against the Toxotes here. They do so much damage. They can clean them up very fast. I'd love to see some villagers get pulled here for Bonkiki to try and hold on. Remember, he is 2 town centers, so he does have the villager lead by a little bit, so he could use those in his army to kind of help him stay alive here. As the Scout Cavalry trying to hold on, but the archers of Rappel seemingly too strong here as the Immortals are all getting cleaned up. And looking like Bonkiki will actually have to tap out here. GG. Well played by Rappel. An incredibly well executed semi-fast mythic here. Very reminiscent of the strategies we would see Rappel employing with Poseidon against Norse. One town center play does kind of lend itself to this style from Rappel, and a very nice execution of it on this map. Bonkiki here neglecting to get himself that domestication till very, very late. He almost had no herdables left. And not really playing into Fuji's strengths here, I would say. A delayed town center is never something you really want to go for as Fuji. It's either you get it straight away or you're going for some sort of Mythic Age timing. But Rappel makes it work, making it seem easy here. GG, well played. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next game.